Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. This is pretty darn awesome that you are actually here with me. My name is Jeff Marconette Jr., also known as the International Award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. And I'm here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and I bring you guests that show you that there is often way more possibilities in life than you know. And each and every person has had to go through something. But I'll tell you right now that your past doesn't determine your future. And I say that because I was in a car accident when I was 17. I nearly died, and I had a lot of people telling me I wouldn't walk again. But guess what? Here I am. And I just want to be able to show other people that they can accomplish things. And what I know is on social media, people often see a highlight reel, and I want to show you that each and every person has had to grow through something. Now, check that out. I don't say go through something, I said grow through something. So, tonight's guest is going to be Jeff, another Jeff, I should say. Hey, Jeff.
What's going on, Jeff?
Not much, man. I appreciate you so much being on here for this show. I know you're a busy guy, and it's pretty awesome that you're here with me now.
Yeah, man, my pleasure.
Yeah, so if you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, what you do, and more importantly, why you do what you do. And while you do that, I'm going to be inviting people on my phone, getting this room rowdy.
Heck yeah, let's get this party started, bro.
Sounds good.
So what's up, y'all? My name is Jeff, the Shredneck, Lavin, and I grew up in southern Wisconsin, a beautiful town called Janesville, and lived half my life in Maine, and now I live in San Diego. I'm a snowboarder, I'm a surfer. I call myself a free range human, and most importantly, I'm an adventurepreneur. So what we do at AdventurePreneur is we call it the Free Range Human Project, and it's all about setting people free, one in their mind, two within some people started businesses, and helping set them free from they had a job or they started a business and that business became a job because I've experienced both of those. So the Free Range Human Project, we have a heck of a lot of fun, and it's all about adventures. And really, it's a self-defined thing. So wherever some people, it's just being able to take their kids to school and pick them up. That's pretty darn cool. Other
Yeah,
people, some people just want to jump out of airplanes, and
sounds
really,
fun.
it's meeting people where they're at, and helping them one with mindset, systems, processes, and a whole lot of other stuff behind that. But it has been one heck of an adventure, to say the least, my man.
That is awesome, Jeff. I really think that is cool. I would love to be a what do you event adventurepreneur, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. And a free range human. Yeah, that is top of the line right there. So I have to say to you guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you would, please tell me what you're trying to get out of this episode and tell me if you're struggling with anything. We will try and help you the best we can with what you were going through. But I happen to know that Jeff had some issues dealing with the whole COVID thing. Now, I know a lot of people had mental issues with that. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people even lost all their finances because of that stupid pandemic that is kind of still going on. So I have to ask, Jeff, how did that affect you? What did you struggle with during that time?
Well, geez. Besides my smell, because I got COVID in 2020,
Oh, so
that
did I.
still has yet to come back.
Yeah,
I
me
smell
neither.
only the good things, and all the bad things I don't really smell. So I mean, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. But COVID, in 2020, we were supposed to be celebrating the 10-year anniversary of my business, and all of a sudden, COVID came along and swept the rug right out from underneath us. And 10 years, it's a long time to be involved and invested in something. And of all the metaphorical storms that we weathered, of all the things to go through, um, to be taken out by something like that. Because one, we had a really rough snow year, so that impacted sales. Then two, shutting it down, we were deemed non-essential by the state
What
of.
was your company?
Oh, so I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go back to the prequels. It won't be one of those Star Wars prequels where they sucked. So I had Why Me Snowboards, where passions meet purpose. We made our own snowboards. We had awesome community. Did a lot of fun stuff and some fun parodies. I'm a big Star Wars nerd, so we did like stuff like Return of the Shredneck. We had some other boards like Trump's White Ass Casino, where it's kind of like Back to the Future meets modern day. And then we did Shredneck Street, which was kind of like a vulgar parody of all the Sesame Street characters. But also, we helped out our community a lot too. My friend Dustin was going through his second bout with cancer. We were able to help raise funds for him, so you don't really have to worry about treatment or have to worry about the stuff that you have to worry about day to day. Or you could just go out and fight that. Unfortunately, he didn't. We made a board for him called Shred for the Cure. Fuck cancer, because seriously, screw cancer. I mean, that's the worst thing out there.
Yeah.
And he ended up losing his battle with that. And then we did other stuff too, like suicide awareness. Like that was one of our big things, because you look at mountain towns and just with men's health and stuff like that, mental health, it's just nobody really talked about it. And I think we looked at the numbers and the stats a while back. Me and a friend, he's a blogger. So we were looking at that, and it was like 9 times as likely to succumb to suicide men were. And we said, well, let's make this an issue. Let's start talking about it. Then other stuff like boarding for breast cancer. My grandma died of breast cancer. A friend of mine, she just kicked breast cancer's ass. Stoked for her. She's a hell of a warrior. But we're doing stuff like that, community. Like one causes, and then our community with the events that we're doing around that. So like bringing people together. When COVID kind of happened, people can gather around, and we can ride. The mountains all shut down. So nothing, that kind of like swept the rug out from everything there. Then our creativity of just having our people, involved, whether it's in-house with employees or people that bought our products, and then our customers, we gave back to our customers and stuff like that. But state of California and Nevada deemed that we were not essential, which I get it. Like we didn't really know what was going on. I'm past the whole blame game of that. I've came to terms with it, but we didn't have the 6 to 7 months cash reserves to keep it going. So kind of the writing was on the wall around March or April. I said, well, if we can't figure this out by, I gave a, date of like midsummer. If this doesn't work itself out, then it's just time for, you know, time to go a different direction and do a few different things that I want to do. The great part about taking something off the burner, your main burner on your stove, is it makes room for other projects, other space in your head, other space, your time, your calendar. All of a sudden that clears out. So I mean, in a way, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, and I didn't want to go back to being, the chief everything officer that I help a lot of people not become. Um, I didn't want to go back to being a one-man band. So I said, all right, well, one, why don't I help people, one, find their purpose, as I kind of pivoted, shifted, change. Two, I've always wanted to write a book, and I got this great offer to write a freaking book, dude. It just fell on my lap. Like, it's crazy. When you look at the universe as, abundant versus scarcity, I just said, you know what? I took it for what it was, and I said, with this company, with this business closing, other stuff's going to happen. Stuff will come on my plate. Manifestation, law of attraction, all that it's really powerful. And when you use those tools, oh my God, the stuff you can create. So I was working my magic. 2020, that summer, I kind of took a radical sabbatical, and I went surfing the whole summer. I never got to. I used to spend like 10 days, maybe a year surfing. I got to spend a whole freaking summer in San Diego, and
That's awesome.
I fell in love with it. I said, well, it's
Now,
time to do
I
something new.
I have some pictures of you. I don't have any pictures of you surfing, but I have some pictures here to show the audience so they understand what you're talking about. So, if you want to go ahead and explain these a little bit.
All right, so we like to have a lot of fun in the springtime. This is 2018. I think it was closing day at Heavenly out in Tahoe. And that, when I was talking about why me snowboards, that was actually our Trump's White House casino board, where he's supposed to be kind of like Biff. And if you get a chance to see that picture, there's a DeLorean crashing to the side of the White House. Mike's all geared up in the all America gear. Then I had my my shirt. It was spring riding, so must have been like May or something like that.
Yeah.
So I had the abolished slavery shirt, and we were just going out having a good time.
That's awesome. So I'll switch to this one.
Oh yeah, Mammoth Mountain in the summer. That's my friend, my awesome friend Amber. Known her for 5-6 years. She's a avid supporter, ambassador for the brand, and that's around the 4th of July of 2018.
Ambassador for what?
For Why Me Snowboards.
Oh, all right. I thought you said I ran, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Anyways, there you go. There's a good snowboard pick. That is 2018 Mammoth. That was an awesome year. They got like 600 inches, and if you've ever been to the Eastern Sierras, they actually have to use bulldozers and front end loaders to move all the snow. That was one of the years where we had to go out through like the second story windows to get out of our houses. It snowed that much.
Yeah, that's amazing. I haven't seen snow like that.
Oh, I remember that. That was a very, very, very cold day. 2000.
That's pretty cold too.
2008. I think that when we snapped that, it was around 10 degrees in North Route outside of Steamboat in Colorado, kind of like around Craig. It's a really cold corner of the state, and it was frigid. It was January or late January, early February, and then we had set that up with a bunch of lights. That's actually at a school where there was kind of like a basketball court, and we were doing a bunch of urban features. So like how skateboarders hit the rails and stuff like that. Snowboarders do that too. So
That's
there,
awesome.
I'm doing a nose press, and oh yeah, dude, sweet. One of my faves. Just doing a bunch of stuff there. So that's there's a switchback side rodeo 7 and sequence in the background. And then speaking at, oh man, that was like before Jake's Summit where we connected. That was actually the last event that I spoke at, Remote Leadership Summit in Beograd in Croatia. And then below there, we actually made our own snowboards for a number of
Wow.
years. And I
Yeah.
still had a heavy hand in the R&D before we started going to like bigger factories and stuff like that. So
That's pretty awesome, man.
yeah.
I had to steal those pictures off your Facebook page.
Oh,
So
dudes, those are some great memories.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So I need to say hello to my dad who is watching from across the street right now. And
Hey,
hi to Marilyn. Hi to Tracy who said awesome. And then hi to Jason Daniels. And he said, I haven't snowboarded in a long time. And
ooh,
I
how
haven't
long is a
either.
long time?
How long's a long time, Jason? I haven't either, but I think it's possible, and each of us need to go out there and live. Don't don't hold ourselves back, because I know I do a lot of that.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
all right, Jeff, we need to go ahead and get into the point. Oh, he said a few years.
Fears,
We
it all
need
comes back.
to go ahead and get into the point of like helping other people get past what they're dealing with. So if a lot of people lost their businesses like you did, or lost their jobs, or lost all their money, or even lost family to COVID, how exactly can you offer advice for them to get past that?
Yeah. I lost a couple family members too. So if you lost a family member, you know, nothing takes that away, and that always kind of stings. But you know, it's focusing on the good and like what you still have. So if you lost that family member or that loved one, it's looking at what you have and what you have in front of you and the memories that you had with them. Those will never go away. If you lost, if you lost your job, business, finances, any of that stuff, you know what? It's all rebuildable, right? You've gotten there once, and chances are it took you a certain amount of time to climb that mountain. But let's say you got to climb that mountain again, or you got to take that route. Like the first time you walked from your friend's house back home when you're younger, like 8, 9, 10. Probably kids are a little bit older, before they start walking around nowadays. With everything being weird, but it took you a little bit, or the first time you walked to school. But after a while, like you had that memorized, you memorized that route the same way you memorized that route to the mountain, right? So you have that practice, man. You have those reps. You have everything you need to, sometimes you got to go look at, like that picture you posted there, like that guy's house got leveled, but you think they could build back a way bigger kick butt house, man? Oh my God, yeah. I mean, like think about the foundation. Maybe they could build it by brick. Maybe there's something you don't like that you could change, like
I when I look at that picture, I've had a lot of people look at that picture, and a lot of people tell me that they see the destruction. They can imagine that they lost family members and all this other stuff. And when I look at that picture, I look at something different. You
oh
see,
yeah.
I look at the blue sky. I look at the beautiful clouds. I see that the dad is still alive, that the baby's still
The
alive.
dad still
The
got the baby.
baby is hungry and eating. The dad is still in communication with his whoever on the other end of that phone. So that means they still have phone service. So it's all about what you look at, just like Jeff just said. So look at the good stuff. Don't always look at the negative stuff.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at the good. Look at what you got. And as long as you got your health, you can rebuild. So, I looked at it when I was rebuilding, or anytime I've fallen down. I've failed more times than I've succeeded. But I've always said, hey, I have that practice. Practice is so key. Patience. Patience is, it's everything, because Rome wasn't built in a day. And I have the practice of patience, and then the persistence. I'm going to keep on going. I'm not going to let little things slow me down. I'm not going to let that hold me back. And then perspective, I'm looking at perspective. I'm looking at stuff with a different attitude. Yeah, I got my health. Yeah, I got my network. Yeah, I got my friends. And yeah, I have people from the outside giving me feedback. Like we all should surround ourselves with, the 5 people. And usually I try and find a mentor, a coach, and then cheerleaders and friends. And then that one, I don't know what the last one is of the 5, but, it's a combination of all those, and just family, just having that perspective. And as long as we're all good, as long as life's still there, life will go on. Practice patience, persistence, and perspective. It'll change your whole outcome. And dude, that there's a beautiful sky in that picture. That guy, his baby's alive, and you know what? He's probably gonna say, "I get to build that dream atrium."
Yeah, I'll show
That
you that
age,
picture again, guys.
yeah. I get to build. You know what? I've been through some crazy stuff like that, where I'm just like, well, you know what? I don't have to fix the newel post. I can
Yeah.
put a better one on, or I can make something a little bit better. And that's kind of the way I looked at, what I did with my next chapter. I said, all right, I'll build, I'll become an author. I'll build a coaching business, and then I'll help other people build and bulletproof their businesses too, where, I know that business falls into like 4 categories. If you got we could draw a little thing out here. If I had my whiteboard, I'd be like, all right, cool. M for marketing, S for sales, and then F for fulfillment, the product or service that you make. And then the admin, like kind of the stuff that goes behind the scenes, like incorporation and stuff like that. And then breaking it down into those and having a good mindset around those, and then building, systems, whether they're automated or whether there's, human capital needs, and then processes, to follow that automation, or, the people and stuff like that could do. And then this last one, with 2020, I said, especially this last year, I jumped into finance, and I said, all right, we really got to figure out how to, bulletproof this, and bulletproof, clients, companies, and stuff like that. So I started partnering with investment bankers, real estate investors, and stuff like that. So, like we'll actually go through, because a couple of my colleagues are former data analysts, quantitative programmers, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do. So you do what's called risk mitigation, and then you take ICP data, international commerce profile. You can look at all that stuff backwards, because believe it or not, like Google and Amazon, they're data companies. They're not. That's where they make the number one source of revenue. And then disaster management, you're trying to like pre-plan stuff. COVID, wars, inflation. You're trying to plan for that, and then you do what's called diversification, taking that and then reinvesting your net into hard assets, whether it's as a limited partner, general partner in real estate, or quantitative funds, or something where that can continue to grow and provide a safety net for that business, and then fund the entire overhead with the cash flow that creates. Because I never want anybody to go through what I went through in 2020.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have no idea what you just said, but it all just went whoosh.
Oh, it's all good,
right
man.
over my head. But
I was like old school. What I just say?
yeah,
What just happened? I blacked out.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, Jeff. So I have to ask one question here.
Sure.
You said that you've been a professional snowboard athlete, or you were before this. Now, what does that involve, and how did you get started in that?
Oh, geez. I mean, that's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I had two wild and crazy parents that met on the hill, and they raised me on skis at like 2.5. I used to pee in my boots and stuff like that, and diapers. And then being the rebellious guy that I was at 12 or 13, I kind of made the switch to snowboarding because I skateboarded, and snowboarding just looked cool. Like they had the cooler clothing and didn't have to wear that goofy neon stuff the skiers wore, and you could go ride the train parks, the half pipes, and all that. So I started really, really young. How did I get into the professional side? I mean, shoot, I started working at a mountain or not a mountain, a little hill, like I think 400, 500 vertical feet. Maybe I'm being nice at that. It was a garbage dump that had a bunch of trailers built on it because that's what we do in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But it's not the hill; it's what you have inside of you. My family relocated to Maine when I was like 18, 19, so I kind of followed them out there, and I stayed involved with competing and stuff like that, and I I worked my ass off for like 2 3 years, training day in day out. Spending summers at Mount Hood, at the glacier out there, doing essentially what we call the never summer in snowboarding, where you just chase winter and train and train and train. Eventually, one day, I was at the right place, the right time. There's a magazine shooting photos at my mountain at Sunday River in Maine, and I got invited into the photo shoot and kind of started connecting with those guys, and then that opened the door for me to go to Norway in 2004, and then that just opened the door for. I spent a whole summer over there. That opened more doors for competitions, and anytime a door would open or somebody would offer me to go somewhere or do something or meet some people, I always said yes. I was a yes man. All right, great. Like, let's go film and stuff like that. Awesome. Because there's a couple ways you can make money or be a pro snowboarder. Like some of you guys see X Games or Do Tour or the competitions and stuff like that, and people winning money. That's kind of like one way. The other way is editorially, where you can actually get in films and stuff like that, and videos. Like Warren Miller is kind of a common one out there, and then there's a whole bunch of video producers and magazines and stuff like that. Like that was all the thing, because that's before we had Instagram or anything like that. That was like the Instagram. You picked up Trans World Snowboarder or one of those and just saw what everybody's doing, where they're going, and where the new spots were. And then that opened the door for shoot, I spent a couple summers in Argentina.
Wow.
In Patagonia and Andes, doing backcountry stuff out there, and just all the places snowboarding took me. I mean, it took me all over the world, showed me a whole life and stuff like that, and even taught me a sense of business, because as an athlete, you kind of get to see. I had my heyday, I had about 8 or 10 different sponsors, so you got to see how each of them interfaced with you as an athlete. And you're kind of a product and marketing, so you get to see the marketing up front, but you also get to do product development. So you get a little background in engineering, and then usually you're broken down with the sales guy, so you get to see how they're selling. And then a lot of times you're hanging out with the attorneys or the owners of the companies, like the CEOs and stuff like that, throwing down at competitions or at events and stuff like that. So you get to hear like the whole admin side. So I kind of got a 10-year crash course in business before I went out and started a business. And then that was a whole nother crash course too.
Yeah.
I just jumped in and said, well, either sink or swim. We're going to make this happen.
Yeah. Well, that's the best way to go about it. I think that a lot of people put too much thought into what they're going to do. And I think one of the best ways is just to go about it and adjust on the fly.
Oh yeah, just on play. You kind of cut out on that last little bit. I think.
All right.
I think you
Sorry.
muted yourself.
All right, sorry. It's kind of like storming here, so
No worries. No
all right.
worries. It's
Well,
adjusting on the fly.
yeah.
I got some good ones about that. So one of my friends, he passed away. Passed away in March. He had a heart attack, 44 years old. It's just life's crazy, life's short, but he always had this saying. And it correlates and relates to sports. All you guys know Peyton Manning. Some of you do, some of you don't. And what was his famous saying? Omaha. And when Peyton said, "All right, Omaha," that meant you have your first plan. You're going to go with your first plan, and you're going to go with that, and you're going to roll with that. You say Omaha, that means you're going for your second read or your second plan. So sometimes life's going to hit you, and you can't always go with that first plan, the first thing you want to do. Sometimes you got to roll out. You got to call your metaphorical Omaha. You got to make that adjustment, and you got to react and respond as the Omaha. And reacting is internalizing it, and sometimes that can be really quick. But we all have to process our stuff, in here, and then responding is how we internalize it. And don't be afraid. To take a bit of time to react, internalize that, because that's going to allow you to adjust to your response a little bit better. Peyton he called Omaha, and he was just the master of react, respond.
Yeah, he certainly was. I have to agree with you on that. I didn't really care for the man because he was so dang awesome, but I shouldn't say I didn't really care for him. I didn't really care for him when he was playing football because he always beat my team.
Who was your team?
Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, Dallas Cowboys. Oh,
yeah.
Man. They were good. They were good in the 90s, man.
Yeah, that's about it, though. For my lifetime, at least.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, I have to ask, what is your book about? And how can people get a hold of that if they want to?
Oh, so they can go to my website, jefflavin.net, or you can look up get-awesome.com. You can find it on Amazon or through my website. What is it about, though? I'm kind of giving the plug out. The where you can find it before I'm telling it the why. The why is it's all about finding, where passions meet purpose. Get Awesome, where passions meet purpose. It's all about helping people find their true north. I really found that when my passions and my purpose were aligned, that I was indestructible. And it segues into systemizing, modeling. Like, I'm not necessarily talking about like Tony Robbins or all those guys. They all have their crazy models and stuff like that, where more or less what I talk about is you need to build your own model for your life. And I go through a couple things of how to build those models of your systems. Like I used to say when I was younger, I used to say tuck it, huck it. Yeah. Go in as fast as I can, throw it as hard as I can, and when it doesn't work out, and then go repeat steps 1 through 2. Like that was like my thing, or like how I looked at jumps, approach, takeoff, maneuver, landing. It's all about how you approach it, what your takeoff is, where you're springing at, what are you doing in the air. There's so many different steps there, and then the landing, and how that makes sense for other people. But it's also building their own system. And there's some good stories, and we touch on the other good stuff, like limiting beliefs. As an athlete, like there's so many darn limiting beliefs. As a business person, as a human, we all have limiting beliefs, and it's all about getting to the root of the core of that, and snuffing those out by releasing them. And manifestation, meditation, the law of attraction, and all the things that we can use to create amazing stuff around us.
That is awesome, guys. I hope you guys all learned something tonight from this man, because he is a big time snowboarder. He even was in the X Games, the Do Tour, the what else were you in, Jeff? I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
getting
geez,
a brain
like,
fart at the moment.
it's all good. World Cup stuff, some movies. I was more stoked on going out in the backcountry and being out there with my friends and doing our own thing. It was fun competing in front of audiences, but it was so much more fun doing it on our own terms.
That is gnarly, and I really respect you for what you do, because a lot of people wish they could live the life of their dreams. A lot of people wish that they could be living their purpose, and I know you are, and you have to be thankful of that. So, guys, I need to remind you that we are here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, on this show, where we try to help you become the best you that you can be. And I am Jeff Marconette Jr., aka the award winning international Make Every Second Count speaker. And I am reminding you that you need to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey, you guys have a fantastic week. I'll see you back here next Tuesday, 7 Eastern Time. Have a great one, guys. Thank you again, Jeff.
Yeah, my pleasure, bro.